Community Service Project. This is a chapter project where the entire chapter should participate with this project throughout the entire year, but then at conference for the actual event, 1, 2, or 3 members will actually present on this project. It is a two-part component. It has a prejudged report that is due on March 1st, and then a presentation that is done at the conference. Let's go over the quick guideline. Let's do a quick overview of the guidelines. Again, this report must describe one chapter project that serves the community. The project must be in the interest of the community and designed for chapter participation. It must include the description of the project, the chapter member involvement, the degree of impact on the community, the evidence of publicity received, the project evaluation, and as I stated before, the presentation team may consist of 1 to 3 of the chapter members, but the entire chapter should be participating in this event. I want to scroll down a little bit more and talk about some of the event tips for the community service project. Because this is such a large project, this is something that you would want to select a topic for your project early in the year, and you want to be creative. Your topic should be chosen for need, not just because the chapter wants to do it. And you want to make sure that it's appropriate for the chapter report. In order to make this project successful, it's good for you to set up project committees. The committee members should have a variety of interests, such as organizing, writing, designing, and publishing the report. Involve as many members as possible, because many talents are necessary for winning this project. This is not limited to just the 1, 2, or 3 people presenting. The entire chapter should be involved. The report must be prepared entirely by the FBLA members, with advisors just serving as consultants. You'll want to develop a project timeline and post that timeline on a bulletin board or some sort of online collaboration program like Office 365 or Google Drive. You'll want to include pictures of the members responsible for meeting each deadline. Other tips: review the report rating sheet to make sure that the written report covers all aspects of the rating sheet, and we're going to review that in just a moment. The report should be assembled according to the categories on the rating sheet, and if your report doesn't cover all the categories on the rating sheet, note that the judges will not be able to evaluate that component. Reports should be written on one project in detail rather than a laundry list of activities. However, the project might have many activities, and that's okay. But again, we're talking about the whole complete project. Follow the guidelines list for the report covers, the table of contents, the page limits, and I'll show you that in a moment. And if your project is not new, the report should clearly identify how the current year's version differs from the previous year's, particularly with the scope and the intensity of the project. The length of the document is not always an indicator of quality or success. Don't make the judges read more than is necessary. The guidelines speak to a maximum page count, not a minimum. Fonts smaller than 11 points should not be used, and reports should be written in a language that does not overwhelm the judges, and the report should reflect the appropriate writing style of students. Words with more syllables are not always the most impressive. Reports should be submitted online for the national competition and also for the state competition. State competition deadline again is March 1st. Let's take a look at a sample community service project of a past winner from 2018. Now, I'm not going to read this word for word, but I do want to scroll through and give you an opportunity to take a look at what this particular project looks like. As you can see, this particular project is jam-packed with information. Also notice that it is very organized and it is based on the rubric. Let's take a moment and look at the rubric. There are two rubrics, one for performance and one for the report. Taking a look at the report first. The rubric has the expectation item on the left-hand side, and then the categories does not demonstrate all the way through exceeds expectations. We're hoping that you create your project to the level of exceeds expectations, but you must hit each one of the expectation item components. Your report also should be in the order of the expectation item components. Your report must also fit the appropriate report format. Let's take a look at those guidelines. Now, I'm not going to read the entire set of guidelines, but please note that the prejudged reports and presentation, here are the report guidelines, and it gives you information for your cover, pages, so on and so forth. It does mention a date for NLC, which is the second Friday in May. That's National Leadership Conference. In order to make it to nationals, you first got to get through state, and the state deadline, again, is March 1st. Once you've submitted your report on March 1st, then it's time for you to prepare for your presentation. The presentation guidelines, the best way to get ready for that is to follow the rubric and to practice, practice, practice. Get in front of your advisor, get in front of your members, get in front of your advisory board, parents, whoever, in order to practice, practice, practice. There are a lot of sample community service project videos out there on YouTube that you can take a look at. In the meantime, make sure that you, again, follow this rubric, that your presentation hits every piece, and hopefully to the point that it exceeds expectations. Notice that you have the expectation item. In addition, when you actually deliver the presentation, there are delivery skills that the judges are looking for. If something is missing, they won't be able to give you any points. Also notice that there is a dress code and a time limit, time penalty points. So if you don't follow the dress code or if you go over time, there might be an opportunity where the judges take some points off. Please notice for your presentation that you do have a timeline. You have equipment set up for 5 minutes, the performance is 7, and at the end you have a question and answer time with the judges for 3 minutes. All of this information can be found at the www.fbla-pbl.org in the competitive event section underneath the community service event. As you scroll through, you can see all the information that I've talked about. In addition, at the very bottom, there are more resources. There are a variety of previous winner reports that you can take a look at all the way through 1998. The rating sheet, and there are additional website resources. I wish you the best of luck, and we'll see you at state.